Welcome to another episode of the John McEntyre Money Show live, prime time. I'm John McEntyre, and this is Hump Day, Wednesday, October the 9th, 2024. And we are in this is National Financial Planning Month. So remember that. For all those out there, this may be a good time to either get a financial plan for the first time, maybe time to have your financial plan reviewed or start the process of thinking about a financial plan. So this is financial planning um, month, October. So this show we have, the routine. We're gonna do some wallet wins. Then I'm gonna share a very interesting topic that's been coming up a lot. Been hearing a lot of questions about it, so I thought I'd address it. Address it. Had talked about it since pretty much started doing lives. Um, But let's take care of these wallet wins first. Uh, as usual, want to make sure, just to keep it at the top of people's mind, first wallet win I want to mention is about more and more people are reporting they're receiving their support from FEMA. Uh, some people have received the ones that had flood insurance. They have received some money uh, to start the rebuilding process or repairs or whatever. But mainly is the people just reporting the FEMA, and I'm glad to see that because a few people out there, politicians included, they are spreading lies just for no other reason, just to keep people all upset. The people are already upset and they're borderline hopeless, and then you have some you know people out there that are just saying things that just aren't true, like FEMA's out of money and they're not even involved, but yet on the news and all of these different places, when they're doing reports and everything. I watched a report here in Charlotte, WBTV. They were in back in it's actually my wife's hometown, Lake Lure, Chimney Rock area, and it was two departments there: the Department of Transportation and FEMA. Both were there. You can see the vehicles in the background, and they were assessing, the damage. And now they're going to allow the actual owners and the homeowners to actually go into the area tomorrow and be able to see the damage, because some of them they lost a lot of stuff, but they haven't seen it. So they're going to allow them in, and FEMA's going to be there to start the processes of um, helping them with their rebuilding process. So don't believe everything you hear. That's the thing about um, the internet, especially social media. Someone can post something, and for some strange reason, people just don't think that it could be fake. It's just they think, yeah, they don't do the fact checking, and we all know that over 90% of what's being pretty much being said is not real anyway. I mean, most of the pictures aren't even real now with AI. So how do let's do some fact checking before we get all emotional, allow our favorite politician to just dupe us, to make us think stuff. And it's ridiculous, and we're supposed to be adults, you know and these people are going through enough trauma as it is, and now they're having to put up with this type of stuff. But uh, as we know, they are doing their job. Wallet win number two. This person, they let us know that uh, they've increased their insurance, their life insurance. Said they bought the policy about 10 years ago, and so they'd been about 7 years due of upgrade, increasing their life insurance. Excuse me. Just thankful that nothing had really happened in that period of time, because that's the hard way to learn you're underinsured, when you need the insurance, when you actually need the proceeds. So that is a wallet win. Um, Third wallet win: sold some stuff on eBay to increase my emergency fund. Yep, wallet win. These are all small. We hear them a lot. I talk about them, and I mention them. But that's what creates financial success. Those small wallet wins. That's what's getting us. Like the people rebuilding from being victims of Helene. These small things. Get stuff assessed. That's a win. Now, we've received the check. That's a win. And the process is going to take a while. Like the mayor of Lake Lewis said, this is going to be years. This is going to be a process. This is not a couple of months. This is going to be years. They're talking about certain highways may be closed down for a year or so to be rebuilt. But all of those small wins, are adding up to the big, to the big goal, and that's why we celebrate them here. So share your wallet wins with us, and we'll make sure to celebrate with you on there, because that's what we want to do, is celebrate these to build that momentum um, that will get you to your financial goals. All right. So today's topic is one. It's limiting beliefs that keeps you broke. As most people forget, finance, pretty much like everything else, personal finance, 80% behavior, 20% math. And in the behavior, people say, well, thoughts are the beginning. Yes, it begins with a thought, becomes a feeling, then the thought feeling becomes a belief, and out of that belief comes the behavior. That's really where the behavior comes from. It comes from the belief. It doesn't come from the thought. The thought is the beginning of it, but it actually, you act or fail to act because of a belief. And so there are a lot of limiting beliefs, but the three most common ones I wanted to touch on here this evening, the ones that keep you broke. Number one, financial. Basically, people just believe that financial freedom is for other people. You know, like the rich, the obsessive, the high income people. That's that's who the financial freedom for. It's not for me. It's for other people. Um, and to really look at the belief, some people, they actually believe that they stay in a certain neighborhood. Uh, they shop at certain places. They will only do certain things because they believe, that they'll never get out of a certain situation. That um, that's for the other people, you know, the other side of the tracks, things like that. Um, and working with a lot of people, we've worked with people that make they're in the top 1% of the earners in America, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. They're high income, but they're not, they're not financially successful. Their career is successful, but they're not financially successful because they're like any other person in that situation, one or two checks from being broke. You know, and we have plenty of stories to share. One of my stories that I always tell, because it was my first, I guess is my first time seeing it. I was doing a show, and this was the early years of the show. I mean, early, what, first or second year, whatever. And uh, the guy, he didn't call me. We were living downtown at the time. I was walking, taking a day walk. I was out walking, and he recognized me and walked up, and he struck up a conversation with me. And I mean, I noticed, he was nicely dressed. I mean, he on a nice suit. We was exchanging those types of things. Hey, nice suit, blah blah blah, blah, this, that, and the other. And he was like, "Yes, I'm an attorney." He said, "I made partner." He said, "I'm like one of the youngest partners in the firm." And so his income, he's in his mid to late 20s, and his income is like almost mid six figures. Salary, bonuses, and partnership, being a partner, everything like that. And he said, "But I don't know how much longer I can sustain this." Uh, and what the first thing I learned about him, he had came from poverty, and so all of this money, he was trying to support a lot of people. And I could understand the baby sister, the younger sister, and the parents. But the friends and all of those, no, he had a house at the lake, and he had boats. He had a condominium downtown, which is where he lived. Uh, and the house was just at the lake with the boat and all of this. And friends was using it. He didn't have time because he was a partner. So partners in big law firms, they work a lot. I mean, they work a lot. So he wasn't really enjoying any of this stuff. He didn't really. He'd almost forgotten how the boat looked. And so as we talked, I can't. As I looked at everything, and I mean, he just laid it all out there. He was like, "This is it." And I'm at home, and I'm like, "Wow, man, this guy makes a lot of money, and if he don't make that money that month, he's through." And you could see the stress on him. He was well dressed, but you could see the stress really on him. And so we talked and had just a straight conversation. We was from different. He had come from poverty. I didn't come from poverty. I didn't have a silver spoon, but it wasn't. It wasn't silver. It was more plastic. It wasn't wood either. So, but we had a lot in common. Small town things like that. Um, uh, so we were able to just really talk honestly with each other. And when we was done with it, he had sold, put the house up for sale, sold the boat, basically told the friends no more free checks, no more free rides. It was all about his baby sister and his parents. That was it. And that really struck me that, you know, when we talked more and more, he was kind of, even though he was well paid, he was a high income earner, he still felt that financial freedom and wealth was for the other people. That was one of the main things. He still felt like the other side is what it was. And I'm like, no, you're far income wise, you're far from the other side. Believe me, you're far from it. Um, once you take care of all of this stuff, sell off some stuff and everything, you'll realize that you can eat pretty much where you want to. You can afford a lot of things. Doesn't mean you need to buy it because you can afford it. And that one has always stuck with me because we see a lot of those. It's pretty much 60-70% of the population that makes over six figures a year are paycheck to paycheck. And I talked about it a couple of days ago, and I've had Andre on, and we've talked about it. Lifestyle creep. It creeps up on you, and it can really overtake you. And a lot of times it stems from that belief. A lot of times people are basically trying to get rid of money is what they're doing because they have these limiting beliefs going on. And I've called them scripts before. They're just scripts that constantly run in the mind. It's a repetitive thought, and it's causing deep feelings and things like that. And so they are. And on the other side, you have the high income person that just almost broke. You also there's plenty of millionaires that never make over six figures. They just don't have the limiting belief that financial freedom is for other people. I know those. They practice sound common sense financial principles in a plan. They actually have a financial plan, and they live by it's not how much you make, it's what you do with what you make. And they manage to do everything that they need to do with the money that they're making. So that's one of them. Financial freedom is for other people. Number two, uh, that's just the way things are. You know, that's the what do they call it? The doomsday thinking. You're pretty much stuck. Uh, they That belief causes people to play the blame game. It's always something external that's keeping them from financial freedom and stuff like that. They're putting responsibility on others. It's the government, it's the man, it's this, that, and the other. It's my boss, it's whoever, but it's never their fault. Um, Sometimes you may hear them say, well, it's just not for me. That's just the way things are. It's not for me. Um, they can't believe that there are people out there that don't use debt, that they pay cash for cars. They bought, they paid off their houses. They're not living with credit cards, or if they do use credit cards, they pay them off every month, things like that. They just don't believe that it exists. Um, And they're not like the people that I mentioned in the early part. That is for other people. They just don't believe. They just can't fathom it. It just doesn't register in their mind that people actually live like that. They actually believe that where they are is what the way that it's going to be for life. Their income level, their work that they do, they're basically going to do that till they die, and they basically live in a state of perpetual hopelessness. And that's a it's a state of being stuck. They feel stuck. Um, then they resign themselves to just living that way, and it's not a way of living. They almost put themselves in a social caste system, self-imposed caste system. In some countries they have those caste system where wherever you're born, it's just where you stay till you die. Well, some people, when it comes to money, they put themselves in a self-imposed caste system. My family was like this, and this is the way it's going to be for me. And they don't do anything to make themselves, try to improve their lot in life, for lack of a better term. Um, and they think that, I have to make do with this. I only make $70,000, and I have to support my family, and I have to use, if I'm going to have anything, I have to use debt, and I have to, use credit. I have to do all of this. Uh, we know people that make $70,000 a year. They're paying for kids' college. They paid cash for their cars. They have their 6 months living expenses saved up, and all of this. Do they live extravagantly? No, but they're financially free, because that's the name of the game. They are financially free where they want to be, and they, some, like, once they get a certain level taken care of, then they move to the next level. They just see things as seasonal, and at different levels. Uh, they're not stuck in any type of a caste system or whatever. They're just working things. They're patient about what they're doing in life. They're not trying to be more than they're not. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're just living their life on their terms. So I know a lot of people, a lot of the what they call millionaire next doors, or I call them invisible millionaires. They they're not flashy at all, but everything is fine in their world. They're good. So that's number two. Just the way things are. Number three, and this was the big one. And this is not me talking. This is just study after study. A lot of women use this one. I'm just not good with numbers. I'm not good in math, and so that means money is math. So I'm not good with numbers. That automatically means I'm not good with money. Uh, and but then on the other side of that, there are a lot of people that are great with numbers and they're not good with money. Just because you're good with money, that's a literacy thing. Money is its own form, has its own language, has its own definitions. It has a dictionary of its own, the whole nine yards. And so, just because someone is good with numbers doesn't mean that they're going to be good with money, unless they become an accountant or something like that, who practices, accounting principles. Um, so, numbers people do get it wrong, and being good with being good with numbers doesn't make you financially literate. That's, like I said, that's a totally different thing. And the reason why I say a lot of times, it's when talking with women, they inherited certain types of scripts, certain beliefs from parents. Especially, you see it a lot with the baby boomer generation and the seniors, the older ones. Mom told me, the daughters. I stayed in the kitchen with mom. Dad handled all of the money stuff, this, that, and the other, and that's just the way it was. Dad did all of that, and mom just said, don't you worry about money. You find someone to marry that'll take care of you and everything. And that didn't work out. So sometimes they end up marrying someone and figure out they're not really that good with money either. Uh, so you have two financially illiterate people. One of them is just not literate. The other one actually has a belief that they're not good with numbers, and that they are supposed to depend on someone else to do that stuff for them. And that's definitely not a good way to be, uh, because on the flip side of that, the women that have taken the time to become financially literate controls 60-70% of the wealth of America. um, that's they have control of it, and but they may not be literate enough to take care of it. And that's when they fall victim to, you know, rogue advisors, things like that, shady salespeople. And so that's a lot of money to be controlling, mainly because they end up living longer than their spouse. They end up being the widow. It's what, um, well over half that the women will outlive the men, uh, high percentages, and all of this stuff is documented. I mean, these are studies, like decade-long studies, multi-decade-long studies, of where they're they're showing that women are outliving, and that the women have anxiety because they end up inheriting a lot of money, and they were never involved in financial decisions, and so that's that's a recipe for disaster unless they decide to become financially literate. And if you pass second grade math, you should be able to handle money, because that's really it. If you can do a little multiplication, definitely if you can add, subtract, multiply, divide, you can handle money. And then just learn to protect your interest. Don't be afraid to negotiate, things like that. Make sound decisions for you. Understand what's important to you. You'll handle money. It'll be fine. You will definitely be able to handle the money. So those are the three major beliefs. Like I said, there are a lot more. They are. I mean, a lot more. But those are like the three common ones that we constantly hear over and over. Or it's like a variation. It's like a variation. So those are the three main beliefs to be careful of. And that brings me to the question of the day. Um, have you checked your money beliefs? Because we all have beliefs. We have beliefs about everything, especially money, because money touches every area of our lives. I don't care how, when someone says money is not important, okay, go out into the world and see what you can get done without money. And you come back with a very short list. So that's the question of the day. Have you checked your money beliefs? Really, really sit down, because we've all had them. We all have money beliefs. We've had to change money beliefs. We're in the process of changing our money beliefs. They will always be, that's going to the next level is all about the beliefs. Doesn't matter how much money you make. If you have a bad belief, or if you have a belief that doesn't really support what you're wanting to do, it won't happen. You may go there temporarily, but it'll all fall apart eventually. So I hope this information was useful. Um, and if it was, share it, subscribe to the channel, like it, tell others about it, send in your questions. Um, if you're ready to talk to someone about money beliefs, or you're just your money in general, maybe it's time to put together that money plan. This is financial planning month. It may be time to reach out and give us a call for our free, no obligation financial checkup, and we will definitely get you on the right path. So until tomorrow, same time, same channel, have a good evening.